Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, and welcome to our office. We are Team Limitless with EXP, and one thing that we're all about is creating a better agent experience. We love to host a lot of trainings, do a lot of masterminds, just really take our team and bring everyone together and work together. And what we're gonna be talking about today is, first, we're gonna talk about a little bit about who we are. I told you about our team, but Jeff and Erock are gonna tell you a little bit about who they are. Who is EXP? Why is our model working? How does EXP support their agents? And why Team Limitless and EXP? So we've got Jeff and Erock that are going to come up and present. They've both been in the business for over 20 years. And one thing that I love to say about them is that people often think that they're the brokers. They're calling them, asking questions, because they always answer their phone and they're so willing to help everyone on our team that we just have a really awesome culture here. So now I'll pass it off to them.
Yeah, thanks, Ash. Our own little introduction there. Nice to meet you, Brenda. I kind of know everybody else here. Alyssa on Zoom. I don't think we've met before, but welcome. See Patricia jumping on. iPhones jumping on. Kathy. We're just going to give you a little bit more of a background about who we are and how we ended up here and why we're doing this. I've been in real estate forever, like pretty much my adult life. Started out investing, and my wife Lynn and I as we were landscaping, had a landscape company. We're like, gosh, you know, I'm not gonna do this forever, right? I need some sort of wealth creation vehicle for retirement, some security. There's a lot to my story, but basically we built a pretty handsome portfolio of real estate that has afforded us a lot of options and opportunities in our lives. I didn't get my license until 2009. You've been licensed for a long time. You've been inactive though, right? When did you first get your license?
Oh my gosh, probably 2008, 9.
Okay, all right, that's about the same as me. I got licensed in 2009. We had been building our portfolio, and we actually built our portfolio up to 60 properties before the downturn. And so, like, literally one day to the next, right before the downturn, I was super excited. I owned 60 properties. And then the next week, I was like, not very happy. I had 60 properties. It was a shitstorm. And you guys that knew me during that time, and it was battle to carry that type of portfolio through that downturn. So when got about 09, I was thinking, oh my gosh, all the people and the speculators and the people that got in the market that screwed it up were broke and gone. So it's time to start investing again, right? And get in there. But Lynn was not going to have anything to do with that. And so I tell people I chose to stay married instead of get back into investing. But real estate was my game. That's all I knew, really. I wasn't going to go back to landscaping. I had shut that down. And so I got my license in 09. And in hindsight, hey, there she is. You know what'd be cool? And I say this all the time, but it's like, we have different stories. That's for you guys on Zoom. Lynn just walked in. You can say hi to the people in the room here. Say hi. There's Lynn. There's Carrie and Shelly and Terry. So anyway, I really wanted to start investing again, but when that didn't happen, I was like, I got to get back in the arena of being in real estate. So I decided to get my license. And I thought, I'm a shoe-in for this realtor game. Right? I've been doing this for 2 decades already. I'm just gonna crush it as a real estate agent. And you know, I didn't. It's a totally different game. When you're doing your own investing and you're building your portfolio, making decisions for yourself, and you're trying to accomplish your own goals. It's different when you step in the shoes of trying to pair other people up and help them with their goals. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, but where I really got successful is I helped people that were in distress. So that was my start into real estate. Lynn followed in 2014. And then, you know, we had a career at Keller Williams for 10 years. So from 2009 to 2019, we were at Keller Williams, but we bought this building that we're in now. We bought this office building and started remodeling it. So we're moving locations. That disrupted our normalcy of what we were just doing and just kind of like going about our business. I'm like, hey, since we're moving, we're redoing logos, we're redoing signs, addresses, all this stuff. Why don't I just get my license and become a principal broker and just be the Marchant RE Group? I didn't do that because I found out all the liability and the extra job of compliance and all the headaches that would come with that. But it kind of opened my mind a little bit to go, okay, well, I haven't really plugged into Keller Williams in 8 years. I don't really need to be there. What else is out there? So I called a friend of mine that was at EXP. He lived in Las Vegas, and I heard enough about it to know that it was different, it was unique. It was founded about the same time I got my license, and it was cloud-based. There was some sort of like ownership, and I knew a little bit. So anyway, I got on a Zoom call with Brandon, and he got me on a Zoom call with his sponsor, EXP up in Canada. They showed me the model, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. That's the best thing I've seen out there compared to the old-fashioned brokerage models that exist out there. This makes a lot more sense to me for a lot of reasons, and that's what we're gonna be talking about today. And literally, my very first phone call was to Erock. And so I'm like, Erock, I'm gonna do a thing, and I need you to take a look at it and make sure I'm not missing something. And kind of, sometimes you look at something on the first glance, you're like, seems too good to be true. It's like I might have blinders on, and so I asked Erock to take a look at it. Obviously, we're both here, but Erock can kind of share a little bit about his background.
Who's your first customer?
Terry was actually. I closed my first transaction because we were already working together at Keller Williams, huh? I literally wasn't even, sorry, side story. We were working, Terry was building his portfolio, and he bought a lot of properties, but right at this transition, I wanted to write my book of business moving forward with EXP. And so I hadn't really joined EXP yet, but the division had transferred my license. Both brokers had released and accepted my license. And so I called the broker. I'm like, hey, the division says I'm with EXP. I'm not fully onboarded yet. Can I write contract? And so we wrote our first contract with EXP, and they finished onboarding later.
It's a good story. Hard to follow that one, yeah. So I've known Jeff and Lynn for about 20 years. And I met Jeff and Lynn back in my when I started out in real estate in the investing side. I was looking to, acquire properties, and I was doing some lease options, seller finance. And what I found is when I was talking to sellers and clients, they said, Erock, we really like what you're doing here, but we're just gonna go ahead and list it with a realtor instead. So I thought maybe I should get my real estate license so I can do both pieces of investing and selling. And then real estate really got in my blood, and I've been a realtor for 20 years now. I started in 2003, and it's kind of interesting. EXP is the first time I've ever moved brokerages on purpose, like actually changed. I don't change a lot. I started in 2003 with Realty Executives, and in 2009 they decided to go out of business with a lot of other brokerages because we had that huge downturn. So I just hung my license somewhere. I just picked a place. I needed to find a place and quickly did it. And when I came to EXP, I realized, well, I picked my first brokerage because I love the broker. And then the next time I switched was EXP. That's a long time to not make a lot of changes. So what did it for me was Jeff called me up and said, hey, we've been with, I've been with Keller Williams for 10 years. We're thinking about making a switch. Will you just poke some holes in this for me? And I said, yeah, of course, happy to do it. So it was like a Sunday morning. I'm in my basement, sitting on the couch downstairs. I'm on a call with this guy from Canada I've never talked to in my life, never heard of EXP. And I'm about 20 minutes in, just taking notes. I'm going to poke some holes in this and give Jeff some feedback because I'm not going to switch. I'm not interested in moving. And about 20 minutes in, I said, this is pretty cool. If Jeff doesn't go, I'm going to go. And within a couple of days, I knew that I was going to make that switch. And I've had so much fun in the last 4 years since I've been with EXP that my wife, Michelle, who was a nurse, she's been a nurse for 10 years. She saw what I was having. She said, I want to know what you're doing because you're actually having fun. She's never said that before in real estate. So she got her license. We worked together as a team, and it's been a lot of fun. It's really actually helped our relationship, and we get to see each other a lot more. And it's been a real blessing. So I'm really passionate about what we're doing here.
So I want to piggyback on that too, because Michelle got her license because she noticed the difference in Erock. All 3 of my kids are licensed, but they didn't get their license calls like Keller Williams. They're just like, they noticed something different, and we talked a lot more about what we had and started sharing it with other people. And so yeah, they wanted to come and play, even though as kids they swear they'd never get into this. But anyway, they've got their own story, and they're all doing really amazing. So yeah, let's continue. Let's tell you a little bit about EXP. That's just a little bit about our background. There's definitely more to those stories, good and bad, but that's some of the summary version there. So EXP is in a unique position. They started in 2009 as a cloud-based brokerage. They started a new model of real estate, and Eric's going to talk a little bit as we move forward here on the comparison of the old-fashioned model and the differences between EXP. But what that's afforded EXP to do is get rid of all the expenses. And so they're profitable. If you look at the publicly traded companies on NASDAQ, or you know the ones that are publicly traded, EXP last year was the only one that was profitable. A lot of them are losing money. And in the franchise model with the expenses they have, as the market's turned a little bit. I admire that you're getting back into real estate now, because it's like the market's kind of shitty, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else
Some
is.
people say, like, I'm gonna go and see about real estate. Well, the market's terrible. I'm like, yeah, real estate's always up and down.
Yeah, people say, how's the market? It's like, it's just the market,
She knows-
today's market.
She knows everybody's gonna quit, then she'll be in a good position.
You know, what? I actually thought the same thing, because when I was investing, I really didn't want to join this industry. There's a public perception, and rightfully so to some degree, because it's pretty easy to get your real estate license, right? And so some people maybe don't represent the industry properly or whatever. So like, and I had a lot of personal examples as an investor of realtors really not doing a good job for their clients on deals that I was involved with. So anyway, I thought that there was room for me in the business in 2009 because everybody else was quitting too. So it's like, okay, I'll get in there. So anyway, like this slide shows, they're profitable, right? They're actually investing in other companies. What I love about EXP is EXP World Holdings is the mother company. EXPI is the ticker symbol. You can look that up. But they own other businesses as well. They're investing in other businesses that help us succeed as agents. And we're going to talk about some of that stuff. Our agent count is growing. Not only are they debt free, but they have over $130 million in the bank. I talked about that they're cloud based, but that bottom little bullet point on there, I'm pretty excited about, because we're all owners in the company. That's one of the things that attracted me is there's EXP and there's the agents. All the buildings and the leases and the franchise owners and the regional directors and all of that stuff doesn't exist. And so we get to participate in the growth of the companies. In fact, in 2022, EXP shared over $200 million back to the agents, and they were still profitable. So that's a really good comparison when you realize that most companies weren't profitable and they're not sharing $200 million back with the agents. So I'm super excited about that. This slide kind of just shows you what I mentioned about, it's a little bit old, it's from Q1. But it shows the performance of some of those publicly traded companies. And you can see EXP there is the only one that's making a profit per transaction. If you look at Compass, I mean, they're losing $1,900 according to this Q1 report on every transaction.
Jeff, what are the big names under Anywhere Compass? It's like ones that people.
So Compass is a luxury brand, and
No, Anywhere.
well, I know he said Anywhere and Compass.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So Compass is its own company. The difference is Anywhere is a conglomerate, right?
Yes.
It used to be Relogy. So Relogy owns several brands. I'm not quite sure why they're not all one brand, but you've got, you know, Better Homes and Gardens, you've got Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's. These companies are under the ownership and the umbrella of what it used to be called Relogy, and they changed their name to Anywhere. Not quite sure why, but that's the name of Relogy. So yeah, a lot of multiple brands underneath there. So we're doing really well here at EXP. Like I said, debt free, money in the bank. We're growing. We're investing in other companies. And so Eric's going to kind of now talk about why it's working so well. This won't go for.
So, like I mentioned earlier, I'm really excited and passionate about what we're talking about today. And the reason the model is working is because it's something that's never ever been done in history, and it offers the agents something they've never had before. So when I looked at EXP in my basement that one day with Jeff and Matt Ashby in Canada, was I saw an opportunity to be an owner by just moving my license to a different brokerage. That was it. If I just kept selling real estate and I moved my license, now I'm an owner. When I close transactions and go about my regular business, I'm an owner in the business. And I knew I'd never be an owner because I didn't want to go buy a franchise and start that. I knew I wouldn't have a big team of agents because that just wasn't my path, right? I was focused on real estate. So let's talk a little bit about this model. This is really, it's the old-fashioned model that's been around for a long time. It's actually a Coldwell Banker created a version of this in 1906, which is over 100 years prior to when EXP, launched. So what is this franchise model? How does it work? Well, the international, this is actually the owner of the brokerage. Maybe it can be a conglomerate of investors. Maybe it's one person. Like we keep talking about Keller Williams, but Keller Williams, it's Gary Keller is the international. He owns that. He's the guy on top that owns the company. Now, what he does, or other owners, or international investors, they go look for investors to start that brokerage, and they sell regions to other business owners within that brokerage. And those region owners go out and find franchise broker owners that actually are going to start and open up those franchises. Now, I have a lot of respect for the franchise broker owners, because these are agents. These are people that say, you know what, I've been a successful agent for a long time. I'm going to go get a second mortgage on my house. I'm going to invest a couple $100,000 in a franchise, and I'm going to put my life on the line and go start a franchise. That's scary. That's what I never wanted to do, and take on that risk. And I actually have some really good friends that have done that and been really successful. And I've seen the stress and heartache that they've gone through, with the ups and downs of the market. So I have a lot of respect for those, people that do that. Well, once they start that franchise and they find that broker owner that owns that franchise now, guess who he goes out and finds? Actually, recruiters, staff, and team leaders, so they can go find other agents. So what's interesting about this is, by the time you get all of this whole stack of people in here, there's actually still no revenue coming in. It's the agents that create the revenue. And if you look at this chart, it kind of reminds me a little bit of kind of like a pyramid, right? Kind of a little pyramid. This has been around for 100 years. And this is the model that so many brokerages have used and copied over the past 100 years. Like, Century 21 was one of the top franchise companies back in the 70s that started this model. And there's been little changes, but for the most part, this is how the former model works. Notice where the agents are. They're not even invited in this pyramid. They're the ones creating all the revenue, but they're not in the ownership of it. And it kind of reminds me of something else that we've seen in the last 15 years. You guys recognize any of these companies? Blockbuster, Best Western, JCPenney's. And of course, on the right-hand side, we've got Uber, Netflix, Amazon, Venmo. What's really crazy about these companies on the right is they all got started about 15 years ago when the internet started becoming more relevant. Things shifted in all industries because of progress and internet and what's available to us at our fingertips. And it's changed how business is done. Well, real estate has actually done that too, and that's EXP. So EXP being a cloud-based brokerage, I just lost the screen, a cloud-based brokerage, and was the first to have a complete 100% brokerage online, and basically changing that entire model. So, hold on one second. Back.
I gotta connect to it again. Bump me off.
And that's not what I did, was it?
No.
So, when we look at the growth of what EXP has done over the past 15 years, you might be wondering, how is this possible? And it's because EXP took away all of those expenses of the previous brokerage. You think about how much the franchises cost, the regional and the owners. We've all heard of the franchise fee, right? Like, hey, I'm on a 70-30 split, but I have this 5 or 6% franchise fee too. Like, well, everybody has that, right? That franchise fee of that 5 or 6% that so many brokers have, that goes right to the top. That goes to whoever is on the top of the actual international owner of that company. So the splits, all of that money goes back to all of those steps in the pyramid. So Glenn Sanford founded EXP in 2009. He said, let's get rid of all of that expense and give it back to the agents in a different form. So it actually, the reason it works is because EXP is saving all that money. And EXP actually runs on only 10%. They run the entire company on 10%. So we are, as agents, we're on top as owners. We get to participate in the revenue share. And EXP, because all those expenses are eliminated, can be profitable at 10% and give money back to the agents. So it's a completely different model. And there's going to be copycats that come and follow this, you know, because it's so much better and it's so much different. And what's happened over the past, well, this is a good example, 2018 to 2022, just by comparison, Keller Williams had 171,000 agents. And then in 2022, they grew by 3,000 to 174,000 agents. In that same time frame, EXP had 15,500, and they have actually grown now to over 89,000 agents. But it's really about 5 times growth. And the reason for this growth is not because EXP has hired recruiters. Keller Williams, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, they actually have recruiters on staff that they pay. EXP, we're word of mouth. Our growth has come from other agents sharing about EXP. And look at the growth difference of, you know, any other brokerage. We're the fastest growing brokerage in history.
And again, he's not picking on Keller Williams. I
I'm not.
happened to be there during that time period. It's a great example, and it's relatable to me. We could throw in numbers of all kinds of different brokerages or whatever, but basically we're trying to show you the growth, of course, and the stability and the stability of the model that EXP has to offer. So hopefully I don't have another cough attack. If I do, I'll just pause. Hey, you guys still with us on Zoom? Good. Okay, so this slide kind of shows what all agents kind of should want or deserve in their business, right? We got to have support. We got to have, whether it's through mentors, a broker, team leaders or whatever, you gotta have a support system in there, and you gotta have training. EXP has over 80 hours of live training every single week because we're cloud-based. So it's not like just one physical location where classes are taught. They're taught by the top agents all over the country. And we need leads, right? We're going to talk about all the amazing ways that EXP has to provide leads to their agents and make them more successful. I don't know the exact numbers, but I would say that Erock's volume is probably at least doubled since you've come over to EXP, which is quite amazing. But the other thing that really caught Erock and I's attention is the ability to be owners. I don't want to, you know, work for my job and not be building anything, right? It's just a job. It's just something that I do daily. And so to be a part of something that we can actually have ownership in, that's building aside from our transactions is really quite amazing. And as owners, we're eligible, if we help the company grow, to share in the revenue that the company produces as well. And so that's pretty exciting. So this is a little glimpse. Oh, we're not changing up there though. Sorry, guys. You guys are on the same slide. Thanks, baby. Yeah, I don't know what I did wrong.
Is this all Zoom scene?
Yeah, well, the slide's not changing. It's changing for me, right? You guys are still looking at the slide that says, how does EXP support their agents? Is that this? Oh, no? Oh, you don't even see that. What do you see, Kathy? You got to unmute yourself. Sorry, this is common. It happens.
It's never happened to me.
I was trying to click on my picture where it said unmute, but that didn't work. What I see is Ashley Taylor in the maps, and she's in probably your Utah room or something like that.
Oh, so
It's four
maybe it
different.
wasn't just changing for you guys.
It's 4 different slides. It looks like she's in the world. Well, she is in the world. And so it looks like she's up on your guys' floor,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
like the next, yeah.
your Utah
Okay.
floor.
So that is the slide I'm on, but it's not changing on my monitor. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna change screen shares. Where are you? New share. So let's just share this screen. I think my monitor's broke.
And that's all of us.
Yeah, so I shared the right one, but they're still. Give me 1 second. See if this works. What does the monitor freeze? I'm out of options.
Yeah,
That's
I don't-
that's frozen.
It's really strange.
You might have to reload it, but no, to come in.
Can you reconsider?
Somebody tell jokes or something.
Okay. Connect to the TV. Oh, just connect to the TV.
Yeah,
So it's definitely longer.
Mhm.
So do you?
Get up.
Is your power plugged in, sir? Is the monitor plugged in?
Dentist who would tell me jokes all the time. It was fun working on me and I'm like.
Where do I disconnect?
You expect an answer to
Please not talk.
Like, I'm not sure how you want me to respond.
We gotta change.
Yeah, overhead picture of the ocean. Or something.
So this happened in one of our trainings where you guys were here, huh? We kept changing the computers and everything else. Hey, Zoom, what do you see?
I just see you, Jeff.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no
Well,
slides yet.
And I see all of us that are got our pictures up there or live.
Shelly, are you glad it's Deb going through this problem and not us?
You and I.
Yes, because usually it would be me. I do.
That was her main selling point. Are these avatars? You're gonna have to come with me and find out more. But I am aware of the.
Share the screen.
You can be a blog.
Yeah,
You go
you get to pick your own.
The holiday.
Tattoos, eyebrows, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I can fix you up.
Okay, now, did I do anything relevant?
You've got one screen that says shows all the world again, and then the other screen shows training. It just says training at the top and whatever you're trying to link on
Oh,
to.
well, that's fine. You guys look at that one. This one's working. Yeah, that's all you get. Well, you can see what's coming up. So for those of you that don't know, this is just some screenshots that Ashley took. She went into EXP World, right? So this is run by a platform called Verbella. EXP was their biggest customer because there's other companies, government agencies, educational institutions that use it. It's a learning platform. And so EXP ended up acquiring the whole company. So it's under that umbrella I was talking about, under EXP World Holdings. And it creates another revenue source for EXP as well, because there are other clients that use Referral. But it's quite amazing because all our brokerage operations, all our trainings, you literally go into an auditorium and sit your little avatar butt in the seat, and you can raise your hand and you can participate in the trainings. There's screen sharing up there. It's quite amazing, and it's so fast. You log in, you go in there, and I'm in brokerage operations and I'm talking to somebody about my transaction, or I'm talking to the admin, or my broker's in there. They get pinged when my avatar that looks just like this. Although I do have flip-flops on, I think, on my avatar. And so, yeah, everything we need is at our fingertips right in there. No driving across town to have meetings and stuff like that. So speaking of the trainings, that little screenshot on the left is the daily schedule for in EXP world of all the different trainings. I don't whether you want to learn lead generation, or how to run your CRM, or panel discussions with top producing agents across the country. These classes are taught by those that are what we call icons, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But these top producing agents are sharing all their best practices and their secrets, which I didn't experience in the old fashioned model, the franchise model. I was actually quite surprised that even the market centers within my own county competed against each other. Lynn and I actually even got recruited by other offices from our office to join a different office, all within the same company. So there wasn't really the same collaboration that we've experienced here, in the way that we all share our information and want everybody to succeed, because we're all owners in the same company. So big difference. So what we've seen over here. Did you were you gonna say something?
Nope.
Thought I heard you take a breath. Like, so we've got Utah trainings too. Our brokers doing an amazing job. You can see some of their schedule there on Mondays. They have state meetings, they do contract reviews, they have broker, what does she call that? Broker coaching hour, just kind of like whatever you guys are working on and need to come up, so we can all learn from other people's experiences, right? I mean, it's for you new agents, until you have your own experience, you do kind of have to borrow it from somebody else, right? And Eric, I really love being that too, being those mentors, and we've seen a lot of transactions and a lot of situations. So those are some of my favorite calls, when I get to go through somebody's transaction with them as they're responding to a counter offer or something like that. So we do our own trainings, we do masterminds on Mondays, and we talk about agent attraction and building our company. And then we do weekly trainings every Wednesday. We're taking this spot on the first Wednesday of each month. Today is the second Wednesday, because last week we were in Las Vegas at EXP Con. But we want to share this with more people, so that people have the information to make a decision, like you're making a decision right now. Where are you going to reactivate your license? You going to stay where did you originally license it? I forgot to ask you.
My last one was Equity,
Okay.
but I worked for Windermere too.
Okay. Yeah, Eric came from Equity as well. So yeah, there's a lot of great brokerages out there.
Oh, okay.
A lot of great brokerages out there, and they all offer something a little bit different, and people need to find a home. I think there's always going to be multiple brokerages, right? And I also believe that people join people. And so it kind of depends on where your tribe is and where you find that place. So let's see, let's move on to lead gen tools.
Yeah, perfect. I love it. Yes. So as I mentioned, I'm not touching the clicker, just
well, it already mine moved, theirs didn't.
So, as I mentioned earlier, my first 16 years in real estate, I only got paid one way, and that was commission only, right? And I came to EXP because I saw ownership. Just by moving my license, I could be an owner, and revenue share is incredible because we can build a team without being a brokerage and have passive income. But what I didn't know at that time was what EXP was doing on the lead generation platform for newer agents, people that needed leads. And over the past year, it has amplified in a huge way. So I actually know some brokerages locally that are laying off half of their employees because things have slowed down. Because EXP is so profitable because of their model, they're reinvesting into the agents. So we're getting more lead generation opportunities to close more transactions. So even if you don't care about stock ownership and creating passive income with revenue share, you still have the opportunity to sell more real estate with EXP than any other brokerage. These are some of, can they see this going on?
I think they can on Zoom, but
okay.
Ours isn't moving again.
There's this. Oh, okay.
No, let's just do this.
Okay.
You guys can see the small version.
So these are some of the lead generation tools that EXP has to offer. KV Core and Chime are both like complete CRM website, autoresponders, and KV Core actually is free with your EXP membership. Chime is at $40 a month, and these are both 500 plus platforms if you purchase them on your own. I love them. There's a lot of great different platforms that we can use. And then we also have what's called EXP Revenue. And this is our lead generation platform for all of the agents within EXP. Just to touch on a couple of them, relocation. EXP now works with every single major relocation company in the United States, EXP, because our network is so great. So when we have an agent or a buyer or seller that's moving from Florida, they're moving to Utah, they call us and say, hey, will you help us? And you have to be relocation certified to get that lead, which is actually free to get through EXP. You just have to go through a class and get certified. Very similar to the other ones, like the bank-owned, Affinity, military honors. There's a lot of different programs where we have leads that come through. And just this year alone, EXP, or actually Revenos, has given 14,000 transactions back to their agents just this year. So if you want to sell more real estate, go through these programs, get certified, pick 2 or 3 that you really like and run with them. I'm really excited about Bundle Select. That one actually was just released. Sit down. It was just released really last week officially. And I think this is the biggest game changer in any lead platform I've ever seen in real estate, period. It is incredible. If you basically what it is it's a employee benefit package for real estate. So if you think about an employer, let's pick Adobe, for example. They offer 401ks, they offer, healthcare, but they don't offer anything for real estate necessarily. Well, Bundle Select has an arrangement. Adobe happens to be one of our clients. Any Adobe employee says, hey, I need to sell my house. Do I have any benefit packages through my company? And they can save thousands and thousands of dollars by using Bundle Select, which is now exclusive with EXP. No other brokerage has it because we bought it like 2 months ago. So it's a pretty big deal. So if you know someone in HR, an owner of a company, it can have 5 employees or 50,000 employees. It doesn't matter. You make that connection and you bring them into Bundle Select. They will be yours, and any of the buyers or sellers from that company, you will be the exclusive agent on it. And what's even better is that they're a big company and they have out-of-state employees. EXP or Bundle Select will find an agent in that state, and you'll get a referral fee back to you. And you don't even have to ever talk to that buyer or seller because they have a full concierge. It's incredible.
I have 2 things after you're done that I would love to.
Now's the perfect time.
Okay.
Is it lead generation? No.
It has to do with,
Yeah, we got you.
There's 2 things I'm really excited about with being with EXP, and that is the referral from 89,000 agents across the globe. I've got several listings going up that are actually referrals from other EXP agents. One's a 1.3 in Olympus Cove, which is a really nice luxury community. And then also the luxury program. We are going to be known for luxury. The best selling agent for Angles and Volkers actually came over to EXP, and they've got a massive EXP luxury group. Terry and I are both getting certified. I just got welcomed yesterday. So EXP is going to be known for luxury, and guess who's going to get the referrals for luxury? The people that are in the luxury program. So those are some things that they've done for us. And I know my business has gotten a lot better with EXP. I know his has. So yeah, it's been a great opportunity for us.
Yeah,
in those ways.
It's been really incredible. I think in my first 16 years, I don't know if I had a single out-of-state referral within my brokerage.
Yeah.
I've had over a dozen since I've been with EXP, just with agents looking me up and saying and sending me referrals from out of state. And they just send a referral fee, right? And I've sent other buyers that were moving from out of state, Utah, to another state. and I get that referral. So our network is incredible for that. And those are the best checks you ever get, right? Referral checks are the best.
We've got
Yeah.
one closing today and that agent referred out 5. So she's getting a $5,000 referral check from us on this one. She's got 2 more with us, with Ashley and I. And then she's got one in Mesquite that she's getting a referral fee on. And then one in New Mexico, she's getting a referral fee on.
Yeah.
That she's gonna make probably 30 grand off of the referral
That's
she's
so
just got.
amazing.
Yeah.
She was cute. She met Lynn in person, the EXP con, and kept following her around, taking pictures with her and stuff.
Here's some additional tools that EXP offers either for free or for a heavy discount. We're gonna talk about every single one of these right now. Just kidding, just kidding. There's lots of, we're not gonna talk about any of them. Just know that there's a tremendous amount of affiliations and tools that we get benefits for that you can plug into. Lynn just mentioned EXP Luxury, which is really, really incredible. They have, EXP has made arrangements with Barron's, Robb Report, the Wall Street Journal. So when your luxury listing goes up live, it will go on their website in their real estate search. Nobody else can do that. None of the other companies have that
There's
ability.
about 90 other MLS type places that it pushes out to.
Yeah, including 80 countries.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's hands down the best luxury program out there.
And they do all that behind the scenes too.
Yeah.
When you're part of this division, they have the staff that does this. You don't need an admin to get, upload all your listings to these things. You upload your listing once and they propagate it to 80 countries, these other MLSs, these reports. And they didn't launch EXP Luxury until they had the best luxury division compared to what else was available out there. It's like, why be just more of the same, right? And so the offerings that we can do here just aren't available at other brokerages.
Yeah, it's kind of, if you're following another luxury brokerage on a, listing presentation and you come in with, Barron's Wall Street Journal and 80 countries, it's going to be pretty hard to lose that listing
Well,
opportunity.
something Lynn and I found out that an EXP con last week was the Lawson team up in Park City.
Yeah.
I didn't know this, you guys might have, but they're the #1 luxury team in the world for EXP globally.
That's incredible.
Well, that makes sense,
Not
because
just US, but globally.
they were #1 at their previous brokerage, and so that makes sense. They've already.
And they've got about 25, 30 broker agents on their team by name.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Yeah, they're gonna take over luxury too, for sure. So we also have commercial, which is a huge deal. So if you know commercial agents in another, commercial brokerage, they can actually join EXP Commercial. And even if you're just a residential agent and a commercial agent comes over, you still have the revenue share and the stock ownership benefits for introducing agents to EXP Commercial. What is so incredible about EXP Commercial is they actually have a cap. It's $20,000 a year. And if you know anything about commercial, most commercial brokerages don't have a cap. So if you have an agent that makes $1 million in commission a year, they might pay $200,000, $300,000 to their brokerage. With EXP, it's capped at $20,000. Huge difference.
With commercial, I'll just add one other thing. With commercial, it's a lot different than residential, right? You've probably noticed that at any brokerage. So there's different tools, there's different resources, team structure. They're not part of the board of realtors. They don't really, they don't have to be a member of the board. They don't even use our MLS. So they have different tools. So it's a whole separate entity underneath EXP World Holdings. We just had a gal join us from Tampa, join us in the EXP con in Las Vegas that was interested in looking at EXP Commercial because where she's at, she had these opportunities coming her way, big opportunities, developments. And these people really wanted her involved in these projects, and her broker couldn't offer her the support that she needed. In fact, he told her not to even do them at all, stick with residential. And with one Zoom call with our state broker, who is also the national, did I already tell you this? Our Utah state broker is also the broker for the nation, for the United States, for EXP. Dr. Bill.
Dr. Bill.
I had a couple of, on the side note, I had a couple people correct me because I go, hey, Bill, and I saw on EXP and somebody standing next to me would say, it's Dr. Bill. And then he'd have to say, we're friends from a long time ago, it's Bill. And he says, if you knew me in my childhood, it was Billy. So it's just like, back off. Everybody's telling me, it's Dr. Bill, show some respect. I'm like, no, he's Bill. But, so anyway, just I'll leave it at that. If anybody has anybody interested in commercial, reach out to Eric and I will hook you up with the right person to explain that, because there's a lot to that we're not gonna go into here. Most of us are residential agents, but just know we're dynamic.
So I love this piece too. We actually have a discounted health insurance available for all of EXP agents. And it's really incredible to know that about a third of realtors out there don't have health insurance. So it's a big deal. We know of agents that are saving $10,000 a year with
Just premiums.
With Clearwater that we have a discount through. So really important and great that EXP puts that out for us.
Yeah. Okay, guys, moving forward, let's talk a little bit about the ownership. There's 5 different ways that we get stock and we can earn stock at EXP. The first one is when you just simply do your first transaction at EXP, they're going to award you a couple $100 worth of stock, just as a thank you for coming over and for doing your first transaction. You also earn some shares of stock when you fully cap. No, we mentioned the 80-20 split. We fully cap at 16,000. When you cap, they're going to give you another $400 worth of stock. I sponsored Eric, so when Eric did his first deal, he got a couple $100 worth of stock. But because I helped the company grow, they gave me $400 worth of stock. It's like, you know, because just as a reward for telling somebody else about EXP, and they came over and now they're bringing their transactions. I got certificates and these little glass things at my last brokerage. I prefer ownership over that. So another really amazing one is if your production reaches certain levels, meaning you cap and then you do 20 more transactions, you're actually eligible to get your entire cap back in the form of ownership in the company in stock. So that's pretty amazing. Those are all gifts or awards. So there's a vesting period for those. Kind of a great retention model too, and a good savings model for me because the stock's worth a lot more than when they gave it to me by holding it. But that vesting period is 3 years, and then you can transfer it, sell it, do whatever you want. We kind of just set it and forget it. We've accumulated quite a bit of stock. I'll give you a comparison. When I was at Keller Williams, I capped every year for 10 years, and my cap there was $18,000. So that's $180,000 that I paid him over 10 years. I've only been here for 4 years. We're going on 4.5 years now. And I have more than that in ownership at EXP just by doing the same thing I was doing there here. And I'm just being compensated differently. And when we hit those production levels, they're giving me my cap back. So I'm really investing truly in myself by being here and being paid to be part of this great company. So it's quite amazing. The last way we can accumulate stock is kind of just as owners and as agents, we're eligible to invest up to 5% of our gross commission income in the stock at a 10% discount. So whatever it's trading for that month, we just kind of have it automatically pulled out at the title company. When they do a closing, they take 5% out, they purchase the stock and they put it in our brokerage account. That's another way that our ownership is accumulating. So that's the stock ownership. Let's talk really briefly about, not briefly, but let's move on to the revenue share. The best way to talk about the revenue share is to compare it with a typical retirement plan, because let's face it, a lot of people don't have one. And to be part of a brokerage that helps you accomplish that through ownership and sharing the revenue back is pretty dynamic, because most real estate agents don't have an exit strategy. Lynn and I were blessed to have invested in real estate when we were young. That was my exit strategy from landscaping or from whatever I was doing, right? It's like something that is predictable, that is growing over time and going to be there for my future. And unfortunately, a lot of real estate agents don't have that. So what I'm going to show you here is a comparison to if you were like just investing money from your job. What, you want to come over here and see?
That's good.
You come sit right here. It's kind of small anyway, but I hope they can still see it on Zoom, but we're froze up here. I think I need a new monitor, but okay, so some of you know what this means. Somebody that doesn't know, take a stab at what the $900,000 is, 4%, 36,000 a year or 3,000 a month. What would that be related to? Anyone on Zoom? Brenda?
I can't see it.
I don't have my glasses, it's too small. So I'm gonna show you, so. Most financial planners are gonna tell you that if you have money set aside and invested for retirement, you can pull out about 4% a year. And not be worried about running out in your retirement, it's gonna last. If you pull out more than that, then it's gonna probably dwindle, okay? So that means you'd have to have $900,000 saved after taxes. To be able to pull out 4% a year, that'd be $3,000 a month. Depending on where people live, that could be a lot or a little, or whatever, it could be a supplement to some, it could be a mortgage payment and car payment for others. But that is an example that I want to now compare to revenue share. So you can do that, or I kind of have this on the slide that you can't see, Brenda, because it says 3-year plan. But it could be a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. Most of us know our retirement plan is our whole working adult life plan to get to that point, say I can finally retire. So anything you plug in here and see that this is doable is going to give you a really good comparison on why we really like the revenue share. So let's say your first year at EXP, or no, not your first year, but let's say on your first tier, okay, we have 7 tiers in EXP that we can share in the revenue of. On our first tier, let's say you get 6 people, like Erock is one of mine, he's on my first tier, right? So let's just say in that 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you get 6. Cappers, as we've mentioned before, they pay into EXP $16,000. Out of that $16,000, they're going to share a portion of that back with us because we brought that agent over. You know what it is already. You know what it is already. For those of you that don't, it's $2,800. $2,800 out of that $16,000 comes directly back to the agent that sponsored those agents. So if you take the those 6 agents by $2,800, assuming they're all cappers, in our market, that's about 6 or 7 deals, depending on the price point of what you sell. It's different in every market. But that would be $16,800. Now let's say each one of those 6 each just brings 1. During that same time period, whatever you're imagining in your mind is a plan to create this type of residual income. If we make $2,800, I'm going to ask you, if you make $2,800 on tier 1, if they sponsored somebody like Erock sponsors somebody else in EXP, how much of that $16,000 do you think they're going to share back with me? I don't know. Remember Mark one time said, "We'll just sit here long enough to tell us." A lot of people kind of guess half because it's, you bring somebody in, it's $2,800. Most people say, well, if they bring in somebody, they're going to give you half that amount, but it's actually more. It's actually $3,200. So all those agents that Erock has just told about EXP and they said, I want to do this too. Like you guys are on my tier 2, right?
3.
Are you on 3?
Well, yours.
Oh, yeah. So $3,200 times that 6 would be another $19,200. Total of 12 agents. Add that up, it's at 36. That's why we use this as an example. It tends to line up nicely. Another reason we use this example is 6 agents that are capping agents. That actually pays your cap. If your cap is $16,000 and you have 6 agents that came to play EXP with you, you're essentially 100%, right? So that's another great comparison. But like I mentioned before, there is also a tier 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we can go into that in more detail in another time. But I just kind of want to show you just on a very basic level how that might work to where you could create some sort of residual income that isn't 100%. Well, that's what the definition of residual. It's not dependent on your efforts, right? We help clients buy and sell real estate. That's how we get paid. It's commission. If we don't work for a period of time, we don't have any commissions coming, right? We're only as good as our next commission. So it can be a grind and there's really no end in sight for a lot of people. So I'm just going to show a couple of examples of agents that are in EXP that have been here for a little while that have grown bigger organizations than that. And you guys can't see this, but I've got a slide of the back office. This particular agent has 521 agents in his organization within his 7 tiers. And so his monthly income is about $30,000 a month. Not too bad. This agent has a lot more than that. He's got over 5,000 agents in his organization. And the thing to remember is you can't really look at it and say, oh, these people joined, 6 years ago, they've been doing this for a long time, because if you're still planning on being in real estate in 6 years, can't you project forward that if it's possible for one, it's possible for everybody? They're probably the biggest earner in EXP hasn't joined yet. I can say that because we all come to EXP and we have the same opportunity. Not everybody does this. Not everybody wants to do what we're doing right now. We're investing our time to share EXP with the agents that don't know about it, to help them make a decision. Do I want to be here or not? Do I want to align with Shelly, or do I want to align with somebody else, right? And so we're just sharing the information because it has changed our life and we've witnessed it change other people's lives. And we just want to play a role in that. So that's pretty substantial right there. If you can't see that with your glasses. Do you wear glasses, or you just say it's too small?
It's just too small.
Yeah, it's like legit.
Kind of to the side.
It's kind of small. I mean, it's a few $100,000 a month. That's pretty good. Yeah. Now I put this slide in here for you kind of to just kind of pick your own retirement plans. And I know it's small, but what you can't see it. But what would be a monthly goal for you, Carrie, for retirement? Like if I had X amount of dollars coming in monthly from residual income or from my investments, I would be pretty comfortable without working. What would be a number?
We were
20,000. Okay. So on this, it's showing, well, if you had that invested and we're making what the stock market and the bank or whatever, if you were making 5% interest, you'd have to have $4.8 million saved after taxes to be able to live off 20. Well, it's a great comparison because when we were young, we set goals like this, and that's why we started investing in real estate, because of the leverage. Because we're thinking, man, if we could have $10,000 a month, this is the early 90s. $10,000 was a goal, right? Especially with what we were making at the time. And I was like, man, I could do whatever I want. I could travel. I would, pay off. I wouldn't have bills. We could do fun things with the family, whatever. But that was in 1990. That same $10,000 wouldn't be my goal today, right? Mm-hmm. To have that same lifestyle, because the erosion of the value of the dollar. Good comparison I like to give people is the first property we bought back during that time period was retail price $48,500. It was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath townhome. Great property, but that's what it was worth back then. Today it's over $400,000. So same kind of correlation, right? Whatever your previous goals were years ago, probably the numbers changed. So the problem when people set goals that are 20, 30 years out with that mindset is they got a 10x it, or they're not going to have the same lifestyle that they think they're going to get. But those are some big numbers. So you can either, say $4.8 million, so you have your $20,000 a month you can pay, or maybe we'll work on building an EXP organization to help other people build their retirement, and EXP will share their revenue back with you. Would you talk about?
Yeah, I would love to talk about international. So this is a map of where EXP is today. We're actually in 24 countries. When Jeff and I joined EXP, we were in 1.5 country. We're in the United States and half of Canada. And why is this even important to us, and why does it make any difference to us? With my previous brokers, I was with Equity. If there's an announcement that, hey, we're opening a new franchise office in Boise, Idaho, it doesn't do anything for me. I'm like, well, good, golf clap, thank you, that's great. It doesn't do anything for me. But with EXP and the revenue share that we have available to us, we have no borders, 0 borders in our business. So we have agents in multiple states in the US. We have agents in other countries right now. We're even working with EXP to open up a new country currently that is really exciting. So we have an opportunity to revenue share in a team that's global instead of locally. And if you think about agents that are successful, they're looking to kind of duplicate themselves, they start a team, right? They get 2 or 3, 4 agents around them in their little local area, and they work that team. If you have a friend or family member in another state that says, man, I'd love to work with you. I actually have one. My uncle in Oregon said for 10 years, he said, Eric, I want to do what you're doing. I want to work with you. And I said, let's do it, move to Utah and I'll help you. And he never did, but now he's a part of EXP and he's growing real estate and he's on my revenue share team. And that's what's so different about what EXP can do on an international basis. So not only can we help more people, it helps us grow our team, and we are not limited.
You know, I forgot to mention one thing when we were talking about the revenue share is just like any good retirement plan or investment strategy, as you're building wealth, you want that to pass on to future generations. Lynn and I talk a lot about legacy. We talk about our own freedom and having options, but we want to leave a legacy for our kids too. So that revenue share is also willable to your children and your grandchildren, and that will live on once you're gone. So that's pretty amazing. So those are all the things that EXP has to offer. We just want to mention a couple of the things that we do here at Team Limitless, just to kind of build some camaraderie and work together, and we'll do events. We haven't done one of these bigger events in a little bit, but we're going to get back to those hopefully. But just so that we can all get to know each other on a personal level, kind of like that. I like the weekly trainings when you guys can come into the office, see you guys here on Zoom as well. So we do these weekly trainings every Wednesday. We have an outside professional come in that's going to share some sort of personal development or business skill development that's going to help you in your business and your personal life, do more transactions. And, you know, I point at Erock every time I talk about this because he has so many testaments of going to a training, putting something in his head, and had an opportunity within a week or two to have a conversation with somebody about that that's led to business. You really should keep a spreadsheet because you bring that up all the time. It's like, we just went to this training and then I talked to so-and-so and now we're doing this transaction. So really we gotta, if we're gonna have things to draw upon, we gotta put it in there first, right? So it helps us with our conversations, on our talking points, our relationships with our friends and our families, and with other agents as well. And so these are super valuable to me, and you can plug into those. What else we got? That's about it, right? So this,
Masterminds. We have Monday masterminds, and then we also have Thursday for those that want to grow rev share.
well, we moved that to Monday as well.
Monday.
Yeah, so we do that on Mondays and Wednesdays now.
Yep.
So yeah, this is just a recap. This is just kind of showing EXP's growth. Fastest growing independent brokerage ever. By transaction count, they're way ahead of the next brokerage by a long shot. Real Trends awards on, you know, growing agent count, transactions, revenue, a lot of accolades there. They're just doing super well. So the next slide just kind of again shows the things that we've been talking about, and you got to look back. You've been inactive for a little while, Brenda, and so you're looking at getting back into real estate. But all of us that are in real estate, we kind of look at what have we done the last 5 years? Did we get where we wanted to get based on what we thought 5 years ago? And if we haven't, then we didn't do something. We didn't have the right tools, the resources, the relationships, or maybe we weren't at the right brokerage. But you also got to ask yourself now, looking forward 5, 10 years. We all have aspirations, $20,000 a month in retirement. Well, what's the plan? We gotta reverse engineer that. What are we gonna do today so we have that? When Lynn and I were young, we said, hey, if we want $1 million for retirement, let's just buy $1 million worth of real estate. Somebody will pay it off and we'll have that. You know, and that number can change over time, but you gotta have those action plans. So think where will you be in 5 years, and is your current trajectory and path gonna get you there?
Yeah, one thing I'll add about the trainings, and to your point, Eric, it's really helpful, is that whenever you're dealing with people, they'll have their version of reality, what they saw on CNN, what Dave Ramsey said. And if you listen to either one of those two, you'd probably just go crawl in a hole and not do anything, right? And so it gives you the real market data, or more accurate local, because a lot of times people they're hearing national data, not state of Utah, Sandy, you know, Holiday, Lehigh data, right? And so it gives us that cutting edge of info, so that when we are talking to all these, you know, negative Nellies and, you know, Debbie Downer type customers are all scared to do anything, they don't make decisions, they don't take action because they're afraid, because of all the crap they hear on the news. And so that helps you at least educate them with what is more current data, and maybe get them off the fence a little bit. Versus if you didn't have that, you'd just be you know, kind of going, how do I respond?
A really good point, because what I noticed here is we had a lot of positivity, and especially in going into EXPCon, it was all positive. I did not, there was no one was being negative about anything, but if I go talk to someone that's been looking at anything that has to do with real estate, that is, they bring that negativity to me, but that's not what we're experiencing here, and I am busy, I am so busy, so if anyone were to tell me the market's doing bad, it's not. And but no one else knows that. And so if they're not in it.
Yep.
And so I totally agree with what he's saying. And that's what I guess this whole company gives to me, is it fills those buckets you need of actual real life, instead of, okay, let's just, let's cover up all that negativity and let's enjoy our.
Consider this, like you mentioned, news outlets and stuff like that. People consume content that validates or confirms how they already believe.
Mhm.
So if you're negative, you're gonna find a lot of validation why you feel that way, and you're gonna share it with everybody else and say, see, I'm right. If you're optimistic and you say, I am going to have what I want in 5-10 years, and I'm gonna have the type of future I want, you're gonna consume content and hang around people that validate and confirm that, and you're gonna get different information. A good example is my older brother. He passed away in 2016, but we grew up in the same household and had the same friends, and our vision of the world was completely different. Completely different. He chose the negativity, and he saw everything that validated his view of the world and why it was so screwed up. I chose to look at something else, and I found the same proof for the way I believed. And we've just led, we led different lives, and we share different things with our children and this and that. So consider the content you consume, and that's part of the reasons why we participate in these trainings too. It's just like, I'm going to continue to develop my skill and my mindset so that I can, help others.
I have friends ask me, we'll be just talking, we haven't talked in a while, and then ask me how's real estate, and they're like, are you doing okay? It's like, it's all that they're about you. It's like, a lot of negativity out there.
And AA for real estate.
Yeah, it's like, all right. It's like, yeah, doing great.
It's fine.
Well, one thing, I mean, like when I used to sell technology all the time, guys, and like I used to like to sell to clients in down market. So I was an enterprise sales rep for a long time. And because usually when companies aren't doing so great, if they're fat, dumb, and happy, they don't need to buy technology. They don't need to improve processes because they think everything's great. It's when the markets are down that the executives step back and they say, why are our sales down? Why is this broken? Why is that broken? Let's invest, let's fix that, right? So that was the best time to really sell to those customers in a lot of cases. And I kind of view the real estate market the same way. It's like, yeah, you might have a lull in the market, or maybe it's down a little bit over these frenetic highs that we saw, but that's the time you want to start sharpening your saw, investing some time, improving your processes, because it will turn.
Mm-hmm.
And when it does, then you're in a better position. All the people who quit, right? Now you're the last man standing, and you got a lot more business you can go out.
Well, that is so true, because real estate really has been easy.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Interest rates were dropping, and buyers were eager, and optimism was high.
Speculation was high. They could just buy anything and throw it out there.
So your point, oh, you're right. I mean, some of these flippers that I watched that got all this momentum going when appreciation was basically creating their gain, not because they bought so well. I know a lot of people that got caught holding a lot of real estate when the market shifted, because they really didn't think they could screw up, because they hadn't in so long. It's like anything they bought was profitable, anything. And so, yeah, to your point, you have to, when things are good, you have to prepare that it's not going to last that way forever. And that's why a lot of agents are leaving the industry, frankly, is because they're starting over. It's like they've been doing it for 8 years, but they really haven't had to work the business. And now it's more difficult. So, that's all we got, guys. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for sticking with us on Zoom. Anybody have any comments or questions, or anything you want to share? Dana's like, I got nothing. You're good. Okay, guys. Well, we're gonna cut you loose on Zoom. Thanks for hanging out with us. Reach out if I can do anything for you. If you have any questions, anything at all. See ya.